In a stark and chilling declaration, Donald Trump warned that an atomic apocalypse is looming. Massive nuclear warheads, he claims, could wipe out our world, perhaps as soon as tomorrow. The U.S. president made it clear that these weapons, colossal in scale and destructive power, stand as the biggest threat to humanity. Could we really be teetering on the edge of our final day? At the helm of the world's second-largest nuclear arsenal, Trump shared his alarm during an early morning broadcast on Fox News' Sunday Morning Features, insisting that the devastation these weapons can cause is more than any nightmare we could picture. He noted that huge amounts of money are spent on nuclear arms, yet their potential for ruin goes far beyond our wildest thoughts. With a bitter twist, he lamented how we pour resources into tools that, if ever fired, might bring about the end of everything. He even dismissed the idea that climate change is the real threat, claiming that hidden away on shelves are the true monsters, capable of blasting cities for miles. What other dark secrets might these silent arsenals be hiding? Though it remains unclear if these views reflect an official policy, Trump made it clear that he favors cutting down on the number of nuclear weapons around the world. Just last month, he hinted at restarting arms control talks with both China and Russia. Speaking at the White House, he argued that there's no need to build new nukes when we already have so many, enough to destroy the world 50 or even 100 times over. He also pointed out that all this money could be better spent on things that might really make a difference. Is it too late to change our course before we sign our own fate? Today, the U.S. holds 5,177 nuclear warheads, with 1,477 set for dismantlement, a number that pales in comparison to the peak of 31,255 warheads in the late 1960s. Yet, progress on disarmament has slowed down a lot since the mid-2000s, leaving us to wonder if the push for peace has lost its steam. Any further decision on cutting arms will have to face the reality of other nations' stockpiles. For example, Russia now has nearly 5,600, while China lags behind with around 350. The stark numbers paint a picture of a world still in the grip of its own destructive habits. Can hope outpace the cold buildup of armaments? Back in 2022, then-President Joe Biden set a major strategic shift in motion, aiming to reorient U.S. nuclear deterrence in response to the rapid expansion of China's lethal arsenal. More recently, China, sounding every bit as determined as ever, announced a 7.2% boost in defense spending after a fierce row erupted over Trump's planned tariffs. As both sides flex their military muscle and national pride, the stage is set for a high-stakes showdown. Will this rising tension force a turning point that none can ignore? As global tensions soar, both Beijing and Washington now seem poised for conflict. Trump's latest move saw him raise tariffs on Chinese goods to 20%, accusing China of fueling America's fentanyl crisis. In response, Beijing has vowed to fight to the end, refusing to back down from the steep tariffs. A spokesperson from China's foreign ministry warned that applying extreme pressure is the wrong approach, cautioning that if the U.S. persists with tariff or trade wars, China will retaliate hard. The Chinese embassy echoed this resolve, urging the U.S. to drop its aggressive stance and return to honest dialogue. Are we on the brink of a showdown that nobody really wants? In a forceful reply to these rising threats, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth declared on air that America is fully prepared to go to war if needed. He stressed that those who yearn for peace must also be ready to stand and fight, hence the ongoing military rebuild. Hegseth's message was clear: to deter any enemy, especially the Chinese, the nation must remain strong, because real peace is built on power. In a world where strength is the key, what does true security really look like? Meanwhile, Trump's European allies have been forced to re-examine their own nuclear defenses amid the storm of rising tensions. French President Emmanuel Macron, speaking with a serious tone, signaled his willingness to extend his country's nuclear shield to help protect European friends. In a heartfelt address, he proudly stated that while France's deterrent is complete and fiercely independent, there's room to discuss how it might also guard its neighbors. Answering an urgent call from a future German leader, Macron has opened the door to a broader debate on European security. Could a united front be the answer to keeping the peace? Last night, Poland's Donald Tusk made waves by declaring his desire for nuclear weapons access, as he plans to have every adult male undergo military training to build a 500,000-strong army meant to deter Putin. During a session in Parliament on Friday, he revealed that serious talks with France are underway about placing Poland under a shared nuclear umbrella. This announcement came on the heels of Macron's offer to extend French nuclear protection to European allies and his invitation to discuss putting boots on the ground in Ukraine. Tusk stressed that relying on regular weapons alone is no longer enough, pointing out that Ukraine gave up its nuclear arsenal yet still faces Russian attacks. He warned that Poland must embrace the latest in nuclear and unconventional arms, saying this is a race for safety, not for war. What bold moves might come next in this high-stakes drama? Not stopping there, Tusk also outlined plans to dramatically expand Poland's military force from the current 200,000 soldiers to a staggering 500,000. He explained that the new training program would create a reserve force robust enough to handle any threat, with details to be finalized by year's end and opportunities for women to join. As Poland prepares for this major military transformation, one has to wonder, could such a leap finally tip the balance toward true security? On the political front, Germany's next chancellor candidate, Friedrich Merz, expressed a desire to hold talks with France and Britain about pooling their nuclear resources, but he was quick to stress that this should only add to, not replace, the American nuclear shield over Europe. In an interview on a popular radio show, he remarked, "We need to discuss sharing nuclear weapons because together, our deterrence becomes stronger." He emphasized that any such partnership should serve to bolster the U.S. umbrella rather than substitute it entirely. Despite its painful past in World War II and its commitments to non-nuclear defense in various treaties, Germany still plays a role in NATO's weapons-sharing programs. As these discussions begin, could a new era of shared security finally emerge?